David, I remember we had our conversation, like I have with everyone, before they come on a discovery call. It was wonderful to spend time with you. And you were telling me a little bit about your story for your home gym product and how this came to light, because this isn't your main career, what you've been doing in your life. So let's hit the rewind machine and you tell me kind of the genesis of this story so the audience can understand.
Okay. Back in the beginning, growing up, I was athletic, but I participated in many sports, football in the fall and hockey in the winter and baseball in the summer. And I did all, but I was never the starter of the team, but I was athletic, but I was a contributing member. And I got into a little bit of a weightlifting at the local YMCA and follow leads from some people there, some elders that were willing to work with me. And that later led to high school sports and things of that nature. And I got more into some of the weightlifting and fitness training to prepare for football and wrestling and things of that nature. So I've been around it almost my entire life, some type of exercise, some type of fitness. And I like the way it felt. I like being in shape. And anyway, life comes and you start a career, you start a family, you have three kids. I was the fourth kid. Anyway, so things start happening rapidly and you say, where did all the time go? And then you have a house and you have things to take care of and kids have homework. So you get wrapped up in a bunch of different things. And all of a sudden that time that you had for your own time, it's time for yourself for an hour or two a day to go to the gym or exercise and work out disappeared over time. So, okay, how do I get creative about keeping fit and doing exercises? I didn't have time. I couldn't go out and buy a home gym and all this other stuff. So I got creative by some dumbbells and did some biceps and triceps work. And then I get some resistance bands and I did a little bit of that. And then I got a doorway pull-up bar for doing pull-ups. For squats and leg work and stuff like that. I'd grab a couple cinder blocks. For dips, I'd go to the corner railing on my deck and I'd get on that and I'd do some dip work. You have to be creative so you can slip this in. There's times watching TV with the wife late at night and during a commercial break, I'd go in and I'd do some push-ups. I'd grab a stool or something and do some decline push-ups and things like that. So that was my life for many years. And you go for a jog or a walk when you had time. But that was my life for many years. And then the kids grew up and moved out, as they do. Hopefully at some point, right? And so we found downsizing, then ending up in a small apartment. I always was a boater my entire life, so I loved the Connecticut shoreline, Connecticut Sound. And so we moved to the shoreline, got a small apartment. And that was great, but on the other hand, it created a long commute to work every day. So I'd have like over an hour and 20 minutes to go to work every day. So the time that my day started to the time it ended, now we're talking 12, 13, 14 hours. And on top of that, there wasn't a gym around. Back to the same old routine. Okay, finding something around the apartment that I can use. Now, of course, my resources were more limited then because I'm in an apartment, not my own home. I'd get back to trying the door gym overhang bar. And I'd try some resistance band work with that. And I'd do a couple push-ups here and there and try and squeeze some things out. So anyway, I was trying to get a little bit more creative with the pull-up bar by putting resistance bands on it and trying to do some tricep and bicep works and maybe some chest flies by wrapping this resistance band around this doorway pull-up bar, which wasn't the brightest thing I've ever did. But I thought maybe this is working out. And so I get a little more daring with it. And all of a sudden it rips off the door frame and it hits me in the head and knocks me to the floor, knocks me out. I guess that was a good thing because that actually knocked some sense into me. I never attempted that again. But it did get me going. This is 2016, thinking, okay, I got to go look for something on the internet. So I did all kinds of keyword searches, looked through Amazon, Etsy, this, that, and all these every method I could find for a couple months, looking for something that was more than just a doorway pull-up bar, something that did it all, would allow you to do dips, allow you to use other attachments and so on. And I couldn't find anything. So at that point I said, it hasn't been made. I need to make it. So I went to the local Staples, grabbed some graph paper and pencils. I didn't know anything about CAD and started graphing some stuff out and changing some things and trying to draw up some pictures. And back into my local Ace hardware store, I'm getting black pipe and connectors and this and that. And people are asking me, and the clerks are saying, gee, what do you need it for? I say, gee, how do I get it? I don't want to get into this explanation. I was embarrassed. And then I'd go back and they see me like every other day. I'm buying all this pipe and other parts. I made something very crude, and it took me years, 2 years to make some kind of progress so I can get some kind of proof of concept. So I finally did get something that was somewhat functional for a proof of concept. And then I got hooked up at a local machine shop who was able to build a prototype, and it was still crude, but it was better than I had. And I switched over from the black pipe, the plumbing stuff helped me get the proof of concept ready. But where it really took off is when I went to aluminum tubing, square and rectangular and round tubing. So when I changed over to that and I found some parts on Amazon, I was able to build something nice, got it over. Then I learned Fusion 360 CAD program. I was able to draw it real nice, got a nice prototype or a decent prototype. And then I was off to the patent office, hired a patent attorney, and we got that going. And 2 years later, I got the patent for the doorway gym. But even at that point, it still needed to be refined and cleaned up. And so I did a number of prototype improvements. And so I got to a point where I was really happy with everything it did. I was able to do the user resistance bands without knocking my head off, using cable pulley systems as attachments with nice anchor points. And most of all, I was able to move the device, which really, there's nothing on the market like it. This device can slide up and down that door frame, and it positions anywhere within the door frame. So it's not dependent on the top of the door frame or anything like that. It's not dependent on hanging apparatus for dip and things of that nature. It's got multiple anchor points for resistance bands and cable pulley systems, TRX straps. It's got an accessory board if you want to do step-ups or decline push-ups. So it does everything I wanted it to do. When I set out, I had a list of what my needs were for this device. And I've got every one of them. There was nothing I couldn't get done with my design. At the end of the day, I finally got my final prototype, and I got it over to a local manufacturer in Connecticut. Nice guy, old time type of guy, old time shop. And he built me 25 of them, and I got them onto Amazon, and I got my own website. And sales have been slow. I think it's priced a little bit too high. But I just released it in January, so it's still a learning process. I'm learning a lot about marketing. I'm learning about fine tuning and social media, which I wasn't comfortable with. And there's a lot of different things. Again, like many people, I wear many hats. I'm just a one guy shop here. So you're trying to learn everything all at once. And so it's been a journey. It's been an adventure. I've learned a lot throughout the process, and I'm continuing to learn. And I'm very excited. I'm really excited about a product that I did. It's all mine. I got a patent for it, and it's useful and it's unique, and it does everything I want it to do. So I just hope other people feel the same way. And everybody I've brought it to has felt very good about it. And I'm always asking for critical opinions. What could be better? What's wrong? What don't you like? What do you like? What do you like? What don't you like? So I got a lot of positive feedback, and I'm continuing to tweak the product. But yeah, I'm very excited about it.
That's awesome, David. I appreciate you telling us all about that. I want to go inside a little bit deeper into the technical aspects of it, because I'm sure a lot of our fit pros who listen or listeners, they've used maybe in the past a pull-up bar in the door, right? People remember that, but there's issues with it. You talked about the anchor points. What about this device keeps it from ripping the frame out? Just like you had mentioned before, what's the difference here that makes it from that not happening?
All right. Yeah. So the main difference is, again, right. So the pull-up bars sit when they attach to the lip of the top of the door frame,
Right.
and then the rest of the door that the force keeps it in place. With mine, I have these L angles. There's 4 of them, 2 on each side. And these L angles go right around the door frame on each side. The bar connects, the spring-loaded bar connects the device together. And so you have angles on either side. And you have a swing bar comes around, and they use that for pull-ups and dips. And what it does when your body weight, when you lock this thing in place, it's got a coupler, spring-loaded coupler, and you lock it down just snug enough to keep it in place wherever you want it within that door frame. And your body weight creates a counterclockwise force on these L angles. So that holds the device in place. There's no way that it can shift or move or break out, because they're extended grip on either side, and your own body weight creates a counterclockwise rotation on that bar and keeps it in place.
Oh, that's pretty
And,
cool.
and that's really the unique aspect of that, because that allows it to slide wherever you want within that door frame. So you can go lower level for leg work, lower body work, midway, or up on top. And then there's 4 different anchor points of carabiners in different positions. One for when the bar is low to touch resistance band, so you're coming upwards. And there's 2 when the bar is in a higher position for a pull down type of force. But again, depending on the position of the doorway gym, it always keeps that counterclockwise force going with these anchor points. So it always keeps the bar tight against the door frame.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, because I think I could just see people asking about that. They're like, I don't want to mess up my doors. And again, they're thinking about previous technology that was pretty crude.
Sure. There's rubber sleeves on each of these L angles, which if they wear after a while, they're very easily replaced. I have extras. And so that's a cushioning against, because that door frame is usually just pine, that molding. So it can get marked up. And I found, again, just a little side note, everything I used to create a cushioning effect to stop it from marring was always black rubber, black felt type of material, and I always left the scuff mark or what have you. Now I have white rubber sleeves, and it doesn't leave because most of your door frames are white or a natural type of wood color, and white doesn't scuff marks. And I think you're right. And it's a big question that I get. And that's one of the first questions. I don't want to mark my door frame. And I understand that. And during this whole process over 8 years, the damage I did to my door frame and doing all tops, you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
I got got a lot of flack over that, believe me.
You took all of the research hits for this ahead of time, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So the consumer didn't have to do that for it. So you mentioned also about using the TRX or resistance bands. Talk a little bit how that integrates with the product as well a bit more.
Sure. Yeah. So it extends the product much more than you can do with just a regular doorway exercise in an overhead bar. Again, in an upper position, I could take a resistance band. So I'm putting it up in an upper position like it would be for like any other doorway device. And it has these carabiners. So you string the resistance band or hook it up to these carabiners, and you can do a pull down, a tricep type of work. You could do bicep. You can do up standing flies if you have the room where you have it. Right. You can do a bunch of different from that position. And in a mid position, you could do chest presses with the resistance band. It's also great, I found, which I didn't mention in any of this, and I just found that out maybe a year ago. It's great for physical therapy. How many times have you gone, I don't know you personally, but I've gone plenty of times physical therapy, and they give you a list of different exercises with resistance bands. Go home and do this. You look for an anchor point. You can't use a doorknob. I don't have a pole in the middle of my house. If I have a basement, I have maybe a lolly column that I could put it around.
Right.
Well, sometimes I'd try to find a piece of furniture that was solid enough, but oftentimes there wasn't a good place to put this resistance band to anchor it. And so as far as that goes, it's perfect, because if they send you home with exercises, there's nothing you can't do with a resistance band as far as working a certain body part. As I said, in the top position, that's how you'd put it. In a lower position, and some of my videos will show that, using leg work and different types of exercises by, again, hooking up the resistance band to the lower part. For the TRX straps, that's usually in a high up position. And again, using the same carabiners, you're just attaching that TRX and you're using your own body weight to do your push-ups, your chest presses, and things of that nature, or back or whatever you're doing. Same kind of concept. Now, is there a little bit of compromise? Yeah. Sometimes the TRX straps are much higher than what you would have with the doorway. Yeah. So there's a little compromise going on with that. But one of the biggest things really, which I missed on, was the physical therapy aspect, the benefits it provide for some users when they get home. So that was a pleasant discovery.
Yeah, you're right, because there is not a lot of anchor points. I'm a big resistance band user, and it's very difficult to find an area where you're not going to cause some damage, or it's just going to be shaky, or it's not going to be effective, where you'll be able to create a good angle for whatever exercise you're doing. So that is an excellent point, I think, about it.
Other than that, no. I mean, it's all really just about the mechanism, how it works. And a lot of people ask the same thing, gee, how does it work? And it's really all about that counterclockwise force that you're providing that keeps it in place. And then when you're using the resistance bands or any other type of attachment, the plate, it depends on what carabiners that you're using. The lower ones are the upper ones because, and you'll see as you use the product, if it's in a lower position, you can't use the lower carabiners. You're using the upper one.
Yeah.
And that still keeps that counterclockwise force. If you're putting the bar in the upper position, you're using the lower carabiners. Again, that's a pull down force and it's keeping that counterclockwise rotation. And yeah, and that's basically it. You have the swing bar, it swings out of the way from one position to the other. And you can do your dips, which I thought was a key part of it.
Yeah.
One of the things I was looking at is, geez, there's nothing you could do. And you can put that mid center right in the center of your door frame and tighten it up and you're off and running. So.
Now you did mention, I think we are talking in our pre-production about some assembly required for this.
Yes.
Maybe you want to talk a little bit about that so people know what they're getting into with that aspect.
Sure. A good portion of it, the main bar and the swing bar are all together. Comes in a box, maybe 32 inches long, 5 by 5 by 32 inches. So all you have to do, and I have instructions inside, everything is labeled. There's a few bolts, a few nuts. Each one is labeled A, B, or C. And then the diagram, I also provide a diagram and assembly instructions. And so you have to put on the end pieces, the L brackets. And I provide also, so a lot of these are hex screws that I use. So I provide the Allen wrenches. So there's 3 different Allen wrenches. So you get all 3 of those. And, you're required to have an adjustable wrench that you have to provide. That's all you get, some kind of adjustable wrench. And that's pretty much it. So there's maybe 8 bolts put together, 2 L angles on either side. And then these crossbars to support, that connect the main bar to the swing bar. And that's pretty much it. I'd say 20 minutes to 25 minutes to assemble. You don't need, as I said, the only tool you need is an adjustable wrench. Everything else is provided. There's as I said, assembly instructions and operating instructions, but there's also a QR code on that. If that's been sitting on a shelf for a while and something changed a little bit, there's a QR code. You take that, it takes you to the website and it shows you any update to those assembly instructions or the user manual.
Awesome. David, that was great, man. Seriously. As we talked about before, I love supporting people doing stuff like this. I just think it's great. I love innovation, and it's often great things start from smaller places. And so I really appreciate your effort, and you're contributing to our industry by you saw a gap and you tried to fill it. And so now you have a product and we want to get that out there. So can you tell everyone just how they can connect with you, the website? Just put that in there. We'll have it in the show notes, but also I'd love for you to say it as well.
Yeah. So my website is listroenterprises.com and you can make your purchase there. I do want to know, because it's very important. And we had this conversation earlier, a 30 or 32 inch door frame. So that's key. So it's going to fit one or the other. And most houses are 30 or 32. Newer ones are usually 32. The older houses are 30. There are some really old houses with 28 inch door frames. It's not going to work. So be careful. Make sure you measure from one side to the other, and you'll see if it's going to either come out 30 or 32. And when you place an order, make sure you pick the appropriate measurement. And there's a list of exercises on the website, one page with maybe 20 different exercises showing you exactly how to do each different exercise, giving you some ideas. As I said, there's operating instructions as well. There's a FAQ page as well. If you have any problems, and of course, contact information, you can contact me. I'll get back to you within 24 hours. And then it's also on Amazon. Hard to find, but it's on there. And you can Google it, and it's there.
Awesome.
I don't know how to make it forward, but I'm working on it.
David, thank you so much. I appreciate your time and appreciate your effort in doing this. Thank you for coming on, and I look forward to staying in connection with you.
Thank you, Dr. Parker. I appreciate your time.